Hey guys. Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. Today, I'm not going to be sharing my story. Today, you guys, we have a special guest. His name is Dean. You might recognize Dean because he has done 3 interviews over on Lockdown 23-in-1 with Josh, and you guys know how I feel about Josh. I love his channel. He was one of the first people to really take a chance on me and give me an opportunity to come on his channel. So I got so much love for him. And Dean has been over there telling his story. He's got a story, y'all. And so tonight he's going to come and tell his story. He's going to share his addiction recovery story with us, which I'm really, really excited because y'all know I love a good addiction recovery story. So what I'm doing right now, so you guys don't think I'm just ignoring you, is I am getting Dean's YouTube channel and I'm going to link it in the comment section. I want you guys to please go over and subscribe to his channel. He is really passionate about sharing his experience, strength, and hope and helping other addicts find sobriety. And so I really think that you guys will enjoy his content like you enjoy mine. And so he's just getting started. He only has 1 video on his channel right now. So, you know, you'll get to build and grow with him. But I'm linking his channel. There you go, in the comment section. So we are live right now, you guys. We're live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook. So what's up, everybody? Hey, Barb. Marilyn, what's up, girl? Hey, Merck. Hey, Boston Smitty. Hey, Lisa. My people on Facebook, share this video, please. If you have a Facebook account, take a second for me and go ahead and share this live stream. I'm going to do the same so we can all get it shared out so that way everybody that needs to see this video will be here to see it. So, bye. I know, Barb, I know it's you. Can you guys see on my there? See, we're live on Facebook, y'all. Bye. Okay. Y'all come on in. This is what I want you guys to do. Come in, drop your sobriety date, and welcome your neighbor. Come on in, drop your sobriety date, welcome your neighbor. Y'all come on in. Is that me talking? Yep, that's me talking. Lisa, girl, I am so tired from working out today. For real. Hey, Sonia. Oh, does it not show it when I link it, Sonia? Here, I'll go over, because I linked it here on YouTube. I think I have to go comment on the video on Facebook. So that's what I'll do. Thank you for letting me know, girl. That way we can get Dean's channel out to the masses. Okay, Sonia. Dean's channel. Oh, does it not show it when I link it, Sonia? Here, I'll go over, because I linked it here on YouTube. Okay, there we go. Yay, yay. What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's up? Yes, I just went over there and I just linked his channel in the comment section of that video. So hopefully other people that watch from Facebook will be able to see. So I want everybody to know that is watching either from Facebook or YouTube. What's up? I'm live on both platforms. So my Facebook people, I can see you guys' comments right over here. My YouTube people, I can see you guys' comments right in front of me. So if you need anything or you want to tell me you're here, go ahead and tell me what's up. Tell me you're here. I am so glad you guys are here. Yes, please go subscribe to Dean's channel, you guys. He's just getting started, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy his story. He was a wild one like I was, so I know I'm going to enjoy his story. And listen to what his YouTube channel is called. His YouTube channel is called Everybody Loves a Comeback. I think that's really cool. Barb, that's because I deleted it, girl. Hey, Jesse, what's up? I was on a rant earlier today, Barb, so I just deleted it. I don't like to leave up negative ones. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless I really feel like I need to, you know. But we did work out today, and that was so hard. And I led the workout, you guys. So it was, I'm burnt. I'm like burnout. I was sweating my balls off. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, girl? I'm glad to see everybody here tonight. Hey, CJ, what's up, honey? I want to share my story with the world. I just don't know how to tell it no other way than raw and uncut. Oh, that's okay, CJ. You can get there, man. My best suggestion to you, CJ, is to sober up. Okay, doesn't matter if you have 5 hours sober or a day sober or 2 days sober, but let yourself get sobered up, and then you're more than welcome to come on here and share your story. The only reason why I don't have people come on that are actively using and high on video is because I don't want to trigger anybody. I did have someone come on my channel that was under the influence, but they called in and we did a video chat. So, I mean, a phone call chat. So if you want to come on and call in, you are more than welcome to, okay? But you are going to be able to get through this. So don't get discouraged. Don't give up on yourself. Okay? Just keep trying. Recovery is possible. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay? If I can get my life together, then anybody can. If Dean can get his life together, then anybody can. If Sonia can't, we all have done it, so we know you can do it. Yeah, I thought about for a long time, you guys, doing like a series where I went out and did like videos with people that were actively using drugs and alcohol. But when I see people who have, the only thing that I think of when I see people who have videos with people that are still using is I think about how that person might feel when they see that video when they're sober. And so I just don't feel comfortable. Like, I don't want to put anybody out there like that. You know what I mean? Hey, Lisa. Hey, Sky. I said hi to you already, didn't I, Lisa? Hey, Merk. Thank you, Merk. What's up, Jay? Man, let me tell y'all what Jay did to me the other day. Jay pranked me, y'all, pretty bad, too. And I actually believed it. Jay and Sean pranked me so hard. Punks. Y'all are some punks. I could have sworn I wasn't going to be around much longer, and here I am, a year plus sober. I know, Sonia, it's a miracle, huh? Yeah, you know what, you guys, you have to take it one day at a time. Like, here's the thing. I didn't wake up with 15 years sober, right? It took me one day at a time, putting one foot in front of the next, one foot in front of the next. It's not going to happen overnight, but you can do this. You can get sober and your whole life can change. All right. So don't get discouraged and just don't give up. Oh, really? Well, I was thinking that was your idea, is what I thought. Hmm. Sky, did you have to work today, girl? Oh, we worked out, and I'm telling you guys, I'm burning. I'm so tired now. 23 days. Hell yeah, girl. That's awesome. Good job. That's a big accomplishment. 23 days ain't nothing to shake a stick at. Girl, you can get them days. I know that's right. You can do it. Did you really? Good. Okay, good. Oh yeah, I remember you were in. Okay, I wasn't reading them while I was working out. I was literally dying. I was dying today, you guys. Like, and whenever Nick does the workouts with us, it's easier because I can just focus on pushing myself as far as I can, you know. Um, but what did I just knock over? Hold on, guys. I'm trying to get my computer up. There we go. That's much better. I like that much better. I like it to be head on with me so that way you guys can see me. Oh, those froggers are the worst, you guys. They're so hard. Dean should be here any second now, you guys. I'm sure he's just getting out of the shower. I think they are too, Sonia. They have been. They've been making me feel better, more confident, you guys. You know? Hey, smiling dinosaur, what's up, hon? How you doing? I feel like I feel like there are so many channels that highlight active addiction, and there's not a lot of channels that are highlighting sobriety, and so that's what we're trying to do here is share about sobriety because we all know how to get high. A lot of people don't know how to get sober and stay sober, you know. It's real. It's depressing. It makes me so sad. Um, and then, some people when they're using like that, you guys, they're not in their right mind. And listen, like I like Frank. I don't have nothing against him, but like a lot of people aren't in their right minds. Um, they're not in their right minds. So when they're making the choice to do a video, what if they don't? What if they don't? I don't know. I have such a conscience. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I just think what it is I feel so much empathy and I put myself in that person's situation, okay? So when I was shooting dope, you guys, I was skeezed out. Skeezed out. And so I couldn't make a decision to go on somebody's channel. And if I did, it wasn't a good decision. It wasn't going to be something that I would look back on and be proud of. And so that's what I think about. I think about how those people feel when they get sober and look back on that. Yeah, I couldn't. And then I also have been seeing an influx of people with channels that are videotaping addicts that are like nodding out. And I think that's messed up. Like, don't do that. It was about consistency, Kenneth. Yeah, Sonia, same. Hey, Drew. Everybody's coming in. Okay, we're at 7 o'clock straight up. Whoop, whoop. Oh, look at Dino. He's so punctual. Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, cool. What's up, man? Welcome to my channel.
What's up? Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah. So this is what I did. I went ahead and let everybody know what your YouTube channel's called. Everybody loves a comeback. And I linked it in the comments, and I'm going to link it in the description. We are live here on YouTube, and we're live on Facebook.
Okay.
So you can share that video from Facebook and do it. You can do whatever you want with the videos. I don't care. And share them wherever you need to if you want to. But yeah, everybody, this is Dean, and I'm super excited to hear your story. So this is what I'm going to do. I just want you to share with us what it was like when you were growing up, what it was like when you got into your addiction, and what your life is like now. And I'm going to let you take it away. And if I have any questions, I'll just ask you the question. Okay.
All right.
All right, cool.
So I was born in Orange County, Anaheim, California, and my father was a LA County sheriff, and
Damn.
yeah, so we lived up the street from Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, and when I was 5, they got divorced, and my mom and my dad split, and right about that time, my dad had broken his back on the job. Somebody had jumped out a window with him, and he was young. I think he was 23, 24 when he broke his back. But I remember going to see him in the hospital, and me and my brother, we ended up staying with my mom, and we were out in Riverside with her, and we kind of bounced around. She had met my stepdad. They had moved out to the desert in Palm Springs. And so me and my brother were living out there. We were going to school. And my mom and my stepdad kind of got wrapped up in drugs and meth. And, they were, we didn't have a whole lot of food on the table. And it was a little rough growing up. But we were kind of young. So we didn't really, we knew something was wrong. We didn't know what it was. But around that time was when I started to I think smell like the marijuana smell,
Yeah.
And I remember it real distinctly. So anytime I smell it now, it takes me right back to my childhood. But so they had something happen where, okay, so me and my brother had gotten in trouble, and my stepdad went to punish us, and he pulled out a belt to spank us, and I had stuck my hand back there to block the belt. Well, the belt buckle came around and caught my finger. And so when he pulled it back, it pulled and ripped my finger open. So I had to get a couple stitches. So from that point forward, my dad came down, and, he was wasn't about it. I think he was just starting to take pills and get into his alcohol addiction at that time. But he had grabbed me and my brother, and we had moved up to Fresno. And so from 5th grade on, we grew up in Clovis and Fresno. And,
So you moved up there? You moved up there with your dad?
Yeah, we moved up there with my dad. So my dad got remarried.
How did it affect you not being with your mom? Because I know I have a little boy, he's 5, and he can't be without me. So how did that make you feel not being able to be with your mom?
It was hard. It was hard. So rewind. So before my dad had taken us, my mom and my stepdad decided to get clean. They decided that was it. That was the last straw. So they had moved up to Victorville with her dad, and who is my grandfather. And hate's a strong word, but I really did not like this man. I had a couple cousins that were also living there, but anytime they would get in trouble, since I was the oldest, I'd get my ass handed to me because I knew better. Even though I was 9 years old and in 4th grade, apparently I knew better. So I just despised this man. So it wasn't so much that I wanted to leave my mom and my stepdad. It was I didn't want to be around this man. And we were living with him at the time in Victorville. And so, and I didn't care for Victorville, you know, who does?
I've never been there. Is it like a
no
little?
offense to Victorville, if there's any Victorville people on here.
Is it like a country town?
It's high desert. There's not a whole lot to do. There's you know, a lot of meth, but shit, there's a lot of meth everywhere these days, you know.
Yeah.
So, anyways, me and my brother moved up to Clovis, Fresno, and we were living with my dad, you know, and I was started playing sports and group of friends. You know, I just remember I also had a lot of anger at that time. So from the day I moved up there, the very first day I moved there and started going to school, I got in a fight, and I just gradually it became the norm. I would fight like at the drop of a hat. Like I didn't, and it wasn't that I was the toughest kid on the block, but I wasn't scared to fight the toughest kid on the block. So that kind of just, you know, bled into high school, and, you know, I started hanging out with older kids, and, you know, I wish I would have focused more on sports because, you know, my dad, they call it Fresno famous up there because he, you know, he was the CEO of the Fresno Fair, and he ran the semi-pro hockey team up in Fresno. He was a concert promoter, so he did all the big concerts up there. So, you know, he had a lot of friends, and but also his pill addiction was getting really bad at that time, and that's when I got introduced to opiates. I remember being 14 years old and being sick, and I had the flu, and my dad gave me a shot of NyQuil with a 500 milligram Vicodin broken up in the bottom, you know, and that's what we called them. I know there's different terminology everywhere, you know, 5-500, 7.5-750. That's just what we called it. We called it 500 and 750s just because it was easier to say and it sounded better.
Yeah.
We also call him Victor too. Victor was
your dad gave you a Vicodin mashed up in the NyQuil.
Yeah.
And hey. You were 14. I'm trying to think. The first time I ever took a pill was when I was about 14 or 15, but it was because I had teeth pulled or something like that.
Yeah.
And so when you took that NyQuil mixture, what did it feel like? What did you think that moment you felt it?
I wasn't sick anymore. I'll tell you that much. It felt great. It was,
were you like, hell yeah, this is the best feeling?
That started it. You know, I was now I'm looking for those things. You know, I'm like a little pill scavenger. I'll steal his pills and help him look for them. You know, like I was a little dirtbag. You know, and so that's what, you know, kind of got me introduced to Vicodin, and we all had a nickname for it. We called him Victor. So anytime we call my buddies, it'd be like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just chilling with Victor. You know, like we knew that was the code to, all right, he's got Vicodin, let's go over there, you know. And this was this was kind of before Norcos were the norm, you know. This was before like doctors were really prescribing. I'm 41. So this was you know, this was 93, 94.
So I remember where we could still go to the doctor, and I heard you talking about this the other night about the prescription pads.
Yeah.
Same. I would swipe those pads out of the doctor's office, and we had one of my friends, his mom was a doctor, so he knew how to write in Latin and all that. Man, I cannot tell you how many pharmacies we hit. Like we should be in prison. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, believe me, I got in trouble for it. We'll get there. So, anyways, so yeah, Vicodin. That's when I got introduced to Vicodin. You know, and so I was also hanging out with the bad kids in school. So my dad wasn't home a lot, so he was always gone. You know, so it was just me and my brother. So I'd always have my friends over. Always, it didn't matter if I went to football practice. It didn't matter if I went to a football game. Like I started partying, and that's, you know, what I did. And I partied hard. And, you know, after high school is when it started to get worse. I started hanging out with some buddies from other high schools, and that's when we started figuring out that you could call in a prescription to act like the doctor. So my buddy just tried it on the whim, and it worked. You know, somebody had already had. We found a prescription bottle at a party, and it was, I forget what it was for. It was for like 5,500. And so he was like, man, I'm just going to call in and act like the doctor, because it had all the doctor's information on there. And so he did, and just called in a refill, and it worked. And we did that every other day for probably 6 months. I mean, it would get to the point where we're sitting in the parking lot and it's like, your turn to go in. And it's like, no, dude, I picked up last time. Josh picked up the time before. Paul picked up last week. You know, like, you had to remember, you know, like, whose face that they had saw last. And so we'd pick them up. We'd shoot up to the lake, because there was a lake right outside of Fresno and Clovis. And we'd go up there and we'd bump. It was right when Notorious B.I.G.'s Life After Death came out. And that song also takes me back. That album takes me back there. But so that's when we started to get into pills. And then I started finding myself, and it was fun then. You know, I didn't feel like I was addicted. I probably was, but I could go without. You know, that wasn't the main focus of my day. If somebody had them, it was fun, it was cool, but it slowly started to turn, where a lot of my friends started going their different directions, you know, going off to play baseball or getting jobs and starting to growing up. That's when I graduated into writing prescriptions. You know, I had swiped the doctor's pad, and I went to Kinko's and I put a little white piece of paper over the phone number and whited that out. And then I put another little piece of paper with the girl I was dating at the time, her cell phone number. And then I'd write out the prescription and take them, and I keep photocopying it until all the little black skirmishes were gone. And then I'd write out the prescription, you know, for 750s, because again, at the time, Norcos were a red flag. Anytime I was right for the times I got caught, it was when I went outside the box. I wrote them for, I don't know if you ever heard of, back then they had Vicoprofen, where it was 7.5 milligrams of hydrocodone and 200 milligrams of ibuprofen. And like, those were the bomb. But anytime I wrote that is when I got busted. So I just tried to stay away from Norcos and just wrote it for, you know, Vicodin ES 750s. And so I started getting into the prescription pads and picking up. I would pick up 2 or 3 prescriptions a day, and they just pick up the phone and call. And my chick would be out in the car and she'd answer, you know, Dr. So-and-so's office, and they'd, you know, verify the prescription, and she'd verify it right there. And I'd sit in the pharmacy and I'd watch, you know, and listen to see if like they were acting suspicious or picking up the phone and calling the cops, or, you know, and I did that for.
Did you ever get scared? Like, nervous?
I got busted. Yeah, it was, I mean, but I'd pop a couple Xanax before I went in there, you know. I remember I got both times I got busted at a pharmacy were in Fresno. All the other times in Orange County, like, it took Huntington Beach narcotics team to finally kick in the door, and that's when they found just a notebook full of prescription dates, pharmacies, everything. They hit me. It was something ridiculous, like how many felonies they were trying to come after me for.
Damn.
And so I did the whole, you know, Orange County to Maine, and then LA County, and then went to Fresno County. And so when I got out of Fresno County, I went right into a rehab. It was called the 13th Step, and stayed clean the whole time in rehab. 30 days, you know, did 30 days. I was gung-ho about it. The night I got out, my homeboy picked me up. We went to the bar. We started drinking, and I had a little size on me because I had been in jail for the last 9 months, you know, and started feeling froggy. And we got in a fight, and we hurt this kid pretty bad. And that, you know, I remember running from the cops, hiding in a field, hella ghetto bird looking for us. And, you know, that's when the detectives started calling, and that's when it got real, you know. And then right about that time is when I got introduced to Oxycontin. And the oxys I got introduced to, they weren't the 80s. I got introduced to the 160s. This was
Mm.
before. I mean, they used to make 160 milligram Oxycontin. It looked like it was a blue pill. It looked like a 500 milligram Vicodin. And that thing, I used to get them for $20 off this guy. His dad had cancer, and he'd sell me these pills for $20, you know, and I could just cut like a little sliver off it and be loaded all day, you know.
Yeah.
And the oxys was when, you know, like that's when it started to get bad, you know. And then after that, I was plugging all the homies with, you know, getting all, like, sound like a dirtbag, getting all my buddies, you know, oxys, and now they're starting to do them. And then we found this doctor. I don't know who found him. I got put up on him by somebody, but we found this doctor in Fresno that would write. It was a pain management specialist, and he would write prescriptions for 120 80 milligram oxys and 120 fentanyl suckers. So I don't know if you've ever had those fentanyl suckers, but
Yeah.
those things knock your dick in the dirt. Like
I've also like had the patches, and we would take the gel into, you know, the deal and shoot it up. Like,
yeah,
it was crazy times back then, man. And so I can relate to, backing up a little bit when you were talking about high school. Like, I was the same way. Like, I was really good at sports. I had a good group of friends, and then all of a sudden, all my friends started going to college and becoming doctors and getting careers, and I stayed getting fucked up, and then I just progressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I
look back on it, and I'm like, damn, I had so much potential. You know what I mean?
It kills me. I wish I would have taken sports way more seriously, because all my buddies that would go to practice after school or go to the game on Friday night, I didn't have anybody holding me accountable to go to that. You know, I didn't have my dad home.
Right.
I didn't have anyone at the house. So if I wanted to go out with my older homies that, you know, were out drinking and fighting and doing shit like that, like, I could miss the game and not get, you know, who does that? Who's on the football team and then just misses a Friday night game? Just like, I don't want to go.
Right.
I'll go out.
And not to blame,
it's not
I'm not blaming your parents or anything, but like, not having that accountability and having somebody to be there to say, Dean, you need to do this. You need to follow through. Like, I look back on that and I think about my son and how, like, I have to stay consistent with him, you know?
Mm-hmm. So. And it's crazy because that, like, deep down, that's all I wanted. I wanted my mom and my stepdad to move up to Fresno and Clovis, because they had gotten clean at that time. After that day, that with the belt thing, they stopped doing drugs, like cold turkey, you know. And my stepdad started grinding at work. My mom was grinding at work. Like, they held it down. So I have another half brother from my mom and my stepdad that they were raising at the time, and they were on. So we would do school year in Fresno, Clovis, and we'd go to the summer down in Palm Springs, because that's where my mom and my stepdad live. So when we'd go down to Palm Springs during the summer, you know, I'd see my little brother, my youngest brother, and, you know, he was getting good grades. He was playing sports. You know, my parents were going to all his games and anything that was important to him, where I didn't have that, you know. I'd be lucky if my dad went to a game, and if he was there, you know, it was usually trying to pick up on one of my teachers or something.
Your dad was going through his addiction too, though. So you were having an addiction, and your dad was having an addiction.
Which he ended up marrying one of my teachers. That's a whole nother story.
Really?
Yeah. He met her at a football game, at my football game. She was wearing my jersey because we had a night where your favorite teacher will wear your away jersey to the game, you know, like in support of you. And she was beautiful, and everybody in high school had a crush on her. And so I asked her, and she wore my jersey to the game. And of course, my dad sees her, you know, one of the games he went to, and jams her up. And he's like, "Oh, that's my son's jersey, you know, whoop, whoop, whoop." And next thing you know, I'm coming home from school, and she's sitting on the couch, and it's like, what? Wait, what? All right.
Damn, so that's crazy.
I don't got to go to class anymore.
Right.
Yeah. I just get a straight A, right? So, but anyways, yeah. So the oxys is where, I started going downhill. And then at that time, my dad was also getting really bad, and he's, you know, um, one of the first people that I shot up with, and and that once I was introduced to the needle, game over. It was I didn't want to do anything any other way. If it could fit in a syringe, shoot it. Like
Yeah,
you're wasting it smoking it. You're wasting it snorting
totally.
it. You know, and I started shooting up, oxy on the regular. And then I started mixing cocaine with it and started doing speedballs and got really bad into speedballs, and ended up one of my homeboys came over to the house and he saw how bad I was. And I mean, I had this abscess on my arm that was just gnarly. And he came over and saw how bad I was. And he was like, come on, dude, get in the car. We're going. And put me in the car. And we drove down to Orange County to the Phoenix house. And they wouldn't take me because of how bad the abscess was on my arm. So they shot me over to St. Joseph's Hospital in Orange, and they ended up cutting it open, lancing it. They do the whole deal, drain it, pack it, all that stuff, and send you back. Well, that little 2 days of going to the hospital, like, I'm a runner. You give me a little bit, I'm running,
Yeah,
and right after the hospital, I was off running again, back on the streets, slamming dope. But
yeah, yeah.
eventually I made my way back to the Phoenix house and ended up actually doing um, 18 months in the Phoenix house, graduated, everything. But there I met another girl, and it always seems like I'd meet a girl, I'd go from one girl to the next to the next. If I got out of one relationship, I was already right into the next one. I always felt like I had to have somebody there to make me feel better about myself.
Right.
Um,
That's because
and
when we're with somebody else, it's like we don't have to focus on what's so fucked up about us.
exactly,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yeah.
I used to do the same thing. Like I was either in a long-term relationship or finding a new one, you know?
hmm Exactly. So, so I met this girl in there, and this girl was off the hook. She didn't care, and she's introduced me to heroin. And once I, found that black tar heroin, like, it was off again, off and running. And she was a crazy one. She would run. The stuff, some of the stuff she got me to do, like, I still trip out on. We'd go in and rob drug dealers, zip tie them, and she'd pistol whip them, and I'd be over there like, wait, what? Like, wait, what are we doing? But going along with it because I'm loaded
Yeah.
out of my mind, and loved the rush, and started doing that. And then it went to um, robbing pharmacies. I started going into pharmacies. I had a little, wasn't even a real gun either. It was like an airsoft gun or something. Well, the first one I robbed I did it with a hammer, or not a hammer. I'm sorry, a screwdriver. So it was a little black stubby screwdriver that had, the little flathead on one side, but the black part, it kind of looked like the barrel on a revolver, like,
Uh-huh.
like where you put the ammo.
Yeah.
And so I taped the metal part, and then I just held it real tight in my hand. And I just figured if I just run in and, like, real loud and surprise them. And it was a little Asian mom and pop pharmacy, and so I feel like I scare him, and that's exactly what happened. There was a guy, and I don't know if it was his wife and daughter, but I just ran in. Like, I had the car parked around the corner in the neighborhood, and I just ran in and ran behind the pharmacy. The way it was set up, the pharmacy was in the back of the storefront, so it had a little skinny store up front with some bullshit, and then I had a copy machine in the front. But I behind the pharmacy kind of stepped up, and you could go behind the counter, and when you're down low, you can't see back there. So I ran in and I grabbed this guy and I put him on the ground, and then I had a backpack and I was like, fill up the backpack. And both girls were just filling up the backpack with, you know, Norcos, Vicodin, Xanax, just any opiates, anything I could get I mean, jars of them. And I remember somebody had walked into the store because they wanted to use the copy machine. And so they were up in the front and I'm down low and I got this guy, and the lady's like looking at me, like talking to the customer, but looking at me. And I'm like, I don't know why I let her do this, but I was like, go get rid of her. And she's like, okay. And she like scurried up there and like made copies with her real quick. And then the lady left and grabbed a backpack and ran out of there as fast as I could, and ran down the whole shopping center, through the parking lot, jumped the fence, and then it was in the neighborhood, and took off. And that's, you know, it was almost a little too easy, and it was kind of scary. But you know, I'd be sitting on a bunch of pills for a week or two, and you know, turn around and sell them.
Were they just for your personal use, or were you?
I mean, I'd sell a lot of them because I was doing heroin and cocaine at the time. I was still doing speedballs like crazy. So I would do that. I took a lot of Xanax. The Xanax I was privy to, but all the opiates and stuff, unless it was oxys or fentanyl, I would just sell them, you know. And so I'd get more money to buy dope, you know. And then I remember on the last pharmacy, I talked about it on Josh's channel. I had almost gotten shot, and that's really what kind of scared me and woke me up. And it's funny. You'd think I'd have an epiphany of like scaring me and waking me up to like, you know, not doing that anymore. But then I thought it'd be a good idea to go and rob banks, you know. And so I started walking in with a note and just sliding the note underneath the glass. And, you know, and that always tripped me out too, is like, okay, you walk in with a note telling me to give me all your money or else, and then there's bulletproof glass in front of you. I don't have a weapon, and I'm just sliding the note underneath. Like, they could just tell me to get screwed and get out of there, you know? Well, but they hand the money.
Were you robbing banks? Were you doing that to fuel your addiction, or was it like, or were you doing it because you got off on being like on? Did you get off on having that control of taking people over, or was it like, I'm desperate, I need money, so I can get dope?
Yeah, it was out of desperateness. I don't feel like I was a bad person or a vindictive person, or I wanted to do any harm to anyone, you know. I genuinely have a good heart, and but the stuff that I would do for drugs, I mean, I look back on it and it's like, I don't even know that person, you know. The way I live my life today compared to then, like, I don't even know who that is, you know. And they say people can't change. People can change, you know, especially if they were an addict and they get clean. You know, you might not be able to change like your character, your core values, you know. I mean, I'm sure you can, but I feel like a lot of actions and a lot of, you know, mannerisms and the way you carry yourself, the way you lie, cheat, and steal for the drug, you know, like I'm sure, you know, like it's crazy. I don't do any of that today.
None of that, man. I'm 100% different.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, I'm looking at you right now and you're telling me that you were like robbing banks and shit. And I'm just like, I know. Goes to show you like how, that's what I wanted you to say, is that, no, I was desperate. I was doing these things to fuel my addiction, because a lot of people don't understand that when our brains hijacked by drugs and alcohol, the only thing, it's a one-way street, tunnel vision. It's I need that drug, I need that drug, I need that drug, and I will do whatever I have to do to get to that drug, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's just it. Like the stuff that I would do, you know. And I mean, rewind a little bit, when I started slamming dope, you know, I got really bad into like, I was slamming dope so much that I just had literally collapsed all my veins. I didn't have any more veins. I mean, I was shooting up in my neck, shooting up in my feet, under my armpits. Just it didn't. If I had a vein, like it was getting blown out. And especially you mix in cocaine with it, they just collapse that much faster.
Yeah.
And also mixing the cocaine in with it, like it gives you abscesses a lot faster, because if you miss, like, but it got so bad to where, I was seasoned in like draining them myself. It didn't faze me, like cutting them open and draining it, squeezing all the pus out, and it's smelling like shit. And
smell. I know what you're talking about.
Disgusting, that infection smell, like. But I mean, it got so bad that I had to start muscling it, so I started, muscling it in my butt cheeks, and doing that, like I started getting abscesses on my butt, and the abscesses, I remember I had a little condo down in Orange, and I was working security at this bar around the corner, and it was a half-ass job, and I just did it for some extra cash. But I'd go in there at 10 p.m. and nod out at the back door for 4 hours, and find new cocaine connects. And but I had this little condo, and I remember my cousin, I came home one day and my cousin was there, and he was like, "Hey, that's it, bro." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I found your stash. I know what's going on." Because my roommate ratted me out. He called my cousin and told him what was going on, that I'd lock myself in my room and just be a weirdo looking out peepholes in the blinds, just slamming heroin and cocaine, just being. And that was the thing.
Paranoia.
Everyone thinks it's like so glamorous, like, oh my
God, is not fun.
Like doing drugs, what are you doing? Or you like banging hookers in hotel rooms in Vegas? And it's like, no, dude, I was holed up in a dirty ass motel room, wouldn't answer the phone, didn't want to be around anybody, and just looking out. As soon as that rush that shooting up heroin and cocaine gave me, it was like blasting off to the moon and parachuting back down. Like, is the best way I could describe it. And I shoot up and instantly like think the cops were running up the stairs, just like. And I almost
cops on yourself.
Almost. I've thrown sacks of dope in the toilet and flushed it, and then at the last second trying to pull it out, because I think the cops are coming. And it's like, and I almost got like addicted to that paranoia, and it was crazy. It was sickening. And I look back and it makes me sick. It almost gives me like the chills, and sorry, I cut out.
All right, there you go. Yeah, you're good now.
So my cousin came over to the pad, and he had taken me into a detox at that time. They had taken my truck, took me into a detox, and thank God he took me in, because right about that time my vision started going. I started noticing I couldn't see straight, and I always had 20/20 vision, and then it got to like where I'd go to take a drink of water, and I felt like I was drowning. Like I started choking on the water. I couldn't lay on my back because my saliva was like choking me. So the detox place got freaked out, and they took me to Hoag Hospital down in Newport Beach, and they checked me in. They didn't know what was wrong with me. They knew I was super dehydrated, so they just put me on an IV. And when they would do an IV, because I didn't have any veins, they would literally have to go into my chest and do a little incision mark and feed a tube to my heart, because that was the only, with nothing, no numbing, anything. But so and then they get me hydrated, and then they kick me back out, and I had to go back to this detox center in Orange County called OC Detox, and it was a medical detox. So they were giving me Suboxone. So that's what I thought it was. I thought the Suboxone was having like an adverse effect on me. Okay. So I went back to the detox center, and I remember just getting worse. And I remember talking to my mom on the phone, and my tongue was like so heavy, and I was slurring my words. My mom thought I was high, you know, she was yelling at the guy that owned the detox center. He was like, we've drug tested him. He's not high. Like, you know, we're trying to figure this out. The next morning, I like was laying on my side, almost face down, because I was having trouble breathing. So they rushed me back to Hoag Hospital. I got into the hospital room, and I had like a shadow with me, because when you in detox, you got to have somebody go with you. So they were with me the whole time in the detox. And I remember the doctor coming in, and he like handed me a glass of water, and he's just like, I just want to see what happens, you know? And I was telling him, like, okay, like, you know, when I drink water, it feels like I'm drowning, because, you know, whatever that flap is in there stopped working. So anytime I drink water, it would like go into my lungs. And so I was like, all right. So I took a drink of water, and then it instantly started feeling like I was drowning. So I got him by the stethoscope. I got the other shadow person by the shirt. And I'm like, you know, that drowning feeling is the worst feeling in the world. And he's like, okay. So right at that time, a rare infectious disease doctor was walking by, and he stopped, and he came in, and he's like, what's going on? And he's like, kind of looked at my chart, and he's like, let me take off your gown. And so they closed the little drape, and they had me take off my gown, and he saw my butt. My butt was like black and blue and had abscesses. And he was like, I know what this is. And the doctor's like, what? And he's like, yeah, we need to get him an MRI, and we need to call the CDC in Atlanta. We got to find the antidote. What I had was botulism. And so I don't know if you know what botulism is. It's basically, so it's pretty much the same thing as Botox, you know, like you get that numbing. Well, botulism, it was from dirty dope, you know, that heroin had like sat in those abscesses for so long, it started to get into my bloodstream, the infection. And botulism just gradually shuts your everything down. Like everything just starts shutting down. Like there's no fighting it. And everything shut, your vision, everything goes, except your brain's still working 100%, and you can hear everything. So they put me in the MRI, and they had to lay me on my side because I was like choking, laying on my back. And then I just remember my mom getting there, and I was in the ICU, and I remember like hearing her, but I couldn't say anything. But I remember her asking the doctor, you know, like, is he going to make it? And he straight up told her, you know, I really don't know. He's got a 50-50 chance. And then she explained to him, you know, we're going to fly in the antidote from Atlanta, and it comes by armed guard, because they can't chance that, like, you know, bioterrorists get a hold of it and, you know, release that into society. But they fly it in, they give you the antidote, your body either accepts it or it rejects it. And so they flew it in, they gave me the antidote, but it's a long recovery. I mean, it took me over a year. You know, so they had to do a trach on me. They had to do a colostomy bag, because I was in a hospital bed for 57 days. Like I was in, you know, the ICU I was in a medical coma for almost a month. You know, I was in the sub ICU for 2 weeks. I don't know if you saw that picture on my page, on my Instagram page.
I saw the one of you laying in the bed.
In the hospital. That was when I first got into the hospital from botulism. And then, so they had to go in there, and they had to clean out all those abscesses. And I had like these open wounds on my butt, and they would have to come in and burn these wounds shut like every other day. So it was just, and thank God for my mom and my family and everybody. They stuck by me in the hospital, even though they weren't talking to me leading up to then, because, you know, I was out running around getting loaded. You know, anytime I got loaded, my family cut me off. And I was in the hospital for almost 2 months, and then they released me, and they released me to my mom's, and my mom literally cleaned my wounds every other day for 4, 5, 6 months. You know, God bless that woman.
Did you get sober after that?
No.
Oh, what?
I was never sober the whole time. Like they put a port in my arm because they couldn't find any veins. So they had to put a port in my arm and they feed it through. And they'd come in with like an x-ray machine while they're doing it. And they feed it in your vein and they feed it through. And once it gets here, it either goes down to your heart or it goes up into your throat. And so they kept missing and it kept going up into my throat. And I'm like, but I can't talk because they got me on I got tubes down my throat at the time because they can only keep tubes down your throat, I guess, for like 2 weeks, and then it damages your vocal cords. So then they had to pull the tubes out, and then that's when they do the trach, but so they fed this central line straight to my heart, and they had a thing hanging out of my arm, and it had 2 ports on it. And when I got out of the hospital, I tried to leave with these things because that's how I wanted to shoot up. Yep. I'm like, oh, I don't need to find a vein. Like, that's how sick my mind was, and but the whole time I was in there, I was in pain. So they had me on Dilaudid. They'd come in and I had the morphine button. I used to pinch the little tube. So I'd hit it, and then I'd pinch the tube and let it build up to a second when my second dose could come, hit it again, and then let it go so I could get that little high. But then, I got out of the hospital, went to my parents, and lasted about a year there. And then I remember my stepdad coming in and sitting down and telling me, like, hey, like, you're killing your mom. Like, you got to go. As much as I love you, like, that woman is the most important thing on this planet to me. And I'm not going to watch you kill her. Like, you got to go somewhere else. I'll take you wherever you want to go. I'll put some money in your pocket, but you can't be here anymore. I didn't fight it. I was like, cool, I'm out. Let me get $200, Yeah. And I respect that man so much for doing that. And in hindsight, I look back and like, I can't imagine how hard that was for him, to come in there and do that. Cause I know how he cares about us. I know he treats me and my brother like we're his own, like our other brother.
Your brother's in here, just so you know. David?
Oh, he is?
Yeah, he commented earlier.
Give him a shout out. Give David a shout out. Give Cameron a shout out.
They're all in here because I was like reading the comments. I keep looking over to see what they're saying, and then I come,
Cameron's big props to Cameron. He's running the channel. I'm computer illiterate when it comes to that, but
it's really easy. If I can do it, you can do it. Because I have no idea what I'm doing. So same. You're gonna do fine.
I'll have my brother Dave on the channel. He's got a good story too. So he's been through it with me, man. That's my ride or die. That's my right hand right there. It was always him and I. Like, we were the two that, we'd bounce from my mom's up to my dad's. Anywhere I was going, my brother was gone. So that didn't stop me, and then when I was in the Phoenix house, my dad died. My dad passed away from a drug overdose, and that didn't stop me, thank God I was in the Phoenix house at the time, because if I was
y'all hang in there with me. I don't know if you got a phone call or what.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Did you get a phone call?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I tried to log in on the computer and it wasn't working. Can you see me?
Not yet. It's still black screen.
Okay. I don't know how to get it back because
here, I'll click. I'm going to click you off and then just click the link again and come back on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. He'll be right back, you guys. Hang tight. Sometimes we have technical difficulties because we're live. I'm excited to hear how he got sober, you guys. How about y'all? But, we've all been there. Like, just so everybody knows, like, I've been there where I have had life or death experiences, and it still didn't keep me from getting high. So I can totally relate.
Yeah.
You back?
I'm here.
You're back.
Sorry about that. Freaking work keeps calling.
It's okay, man. I understand.
Yeah. So, losing my father, that, like I said, that was in 2005, and thank God I was in recovery at the time, because if I was on the streets, like, that would have just been another excuse to go balls to the wall. And that, I mean, I was already balls to the wall, but I mean, when I was first got out of Phoenix House and I was running around with that girl, I mean, I'd find myself up on downtown LA, like walking down the street looking for dope. And, you know, guys would be walking past me and they'd have balloons in their mouth, you know, and they'd smile and I'd see the balloons. And then we'd go around the corner to their little tent on Skid Row, and I'd be in a tent slamming dope on Skid Row. And it's like looking around like, man, this is this is what it's come to, you know.
What you know where you need to, a channel you need to get on?
Mm-hmm.
He's in California on Skid Row. Soft White Underbelly. Have you seen him yet?
No, that
You
just
don't know
that name's funny.
He's almost at 1 million subscribers.
Good
but
for him, man. I'll show him love.
He interviews people that are either in active addiction or in recovery. Yeah. That would be an awesome opportunity for you, just so you know.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to go back, you know, and give back and do stuff like that. I mean, I try to every chance I can, you know. It's just, I know there's no excuses, you know. I'm so, like, just busy with work, thankful for all that, you know. And so, I mean, we'll go back to the story. So after, you know, I lost my father, after the botulism, still didn't stop me, you know, went back to running the streets after my stepdad kicked me out, and was back out full blown into the addiction, running around with that chick. And that's when I got into robbing banks, and that's what led me to prison. And in prison, I remember when I first went to county jail, I was on 120 milligrams of methadone. I was probably taking 6 to 8 Xanny bars a day. I had a 2 to 3 gram heroin addiction. I had, you know, probably a 40 of cocaine mixed in with it. And I was just on an appetite for destruction. I was on a highway to hell. I didn't care, you know. It got so bad to where I didn't care what happened to me. I didn't care if I died. I didn't care if I lived. I didn't care. It just, nothing mattered. So I think subconsciously, when I did rob that bank, like, I knew I was going to get caught, you know, and I knew that I was going to prison, but I literally needed that. I needed to go to prison. I needed to go somewhere where I could not get out. And rehab, I'll find a way to sneak out. I'll connive somebody. I'll charm somebody. I'll do something to get my way out of that rehab if I'm feeling dope sick enough. And how I was in county jail, I was bad for a while, you know. I mean, the guy next to me had because I wasn't getting off my rack and going walking to chow, you know. So the guy next to me, when I first came in, I had new shoes because I had just gotten there. There are these little orange slip-ons in Orange County Jail, and he had grimy ass ones, and he swapped them out and took mine. And I was so sick, I didn't care, you know. But the guy that had the keys to the pod heard about it and came up to my rack and was like, "Hey, dude, you and another cat got to go in the bathroom and beat this guy up. He stole from you, you know." And I was just like, well, can't somebody else do it? You know, like, I feel like shit.
Right.
You know,
like, they make you do that?
Oh yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't. If somebody steals from you in there, like, there's consequences. They don't play around with thieves. They don't play around with, you know, the gay stuff. They don't play around with sex play. They don't play around with child molesters, rapists, any of that. They have, like, their own set of rules. But I didn't care. You know, I was dope sick.
You were dope sick. Like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah, leave me. I ain't going to chow anyways. Screw them shoes.
Right.
You know, but he's like, get off your rack. So I had to get off my rack, feeling like hell, throwing up, shit myself, and had to go in the bathroom and put hands on this guy with another cat. And I remember after that, and after I knew, like, okay, this is how it's going to be. This is how, if this is how jail is, prison's only going to be worse. You know, I'm going to have to be on point, on the top of my game. And that's what I did once I finally started getting a little bit better. You know, like it took a good 3 months before I like was sleeping more than a couple hours, and I could hold down food, and I started working out, you know, and then finally got to went upstate and went to, you know, Wasco reception, and, you know, scared shitless getting off the bus for the first time and seeing that big old sign that says no warning shots fired. Like, you know, I don't care who you are, how tough you are, the first time you get off that bus going to prison, like, you definitely check yourself, like, okay, here we go. And,
It's scary.
you know,
I went to prison in Arkansas, and it was the scariest
mhm,
thing that's ever happened to me, I swear. I was afraid that they were gonna I had all these things that I had seen in movies. You
mhm,
know what I mean?
yeah.
But it's
See,
totally different. Like
you see
men's
all these
women's
prison
prison.
rapes and, you know,
Yeah,
all this stuff, and it's like, wait, what? Like, you know, that's not even, I mean, it happens, but that's not, you know, it's not the norm. And
right.
so it in prison, I stayed clean and sober, you know. I mean, I smoked a little bit of weed. I think I drank once or twice, but as far as shooting dope, and the dope was prevalent in there. I mean, I'd be walking back across the yard with my laundry bag, and I'd have full of my store, you know, and I'd get hit up 3 times before I made it back to the building, you know, for
Wow.
$20 papers, you know. But I also knew myself, you know, like there wasn't enough dope on that yard to keep me high, because I'm grimy, I'm dirty, I don't care about myself. I'll get everybody in a wreck if I start slamming dope. You
Right.
know, like I'm a owe money. I'm gonna, you know, go on missions. I'm gonna be backstabbing. Like, you don't want high Dean running around,
Right.
running around this yard. You know, you guys are gonna be all right. We got to get rid of Dino. He's got to go. Um, but yeah, so I say, I mean, and I'd have Sellies like full on with the little syringe, like, hey, Selly, like, I can't hit this vein. You think you could hit me? And I'd be in the cell and be like, all right, you know, shoot him up. And he'd be like, you want half? And it's like, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, and that was hard to turn. I mean, you're bored in there, you know. So,
Yeah.
but I knew if I couldn't stay clean in there, like, I'm not gonna have a chance when I get out, you know.
Right.
And so
Right.
when I paroled to my parents, and they were living out in Palm Springs at the time, and I was on high control parole, and one of my stipulations was I had to get a job right away. And that whole excuse of not being able to find work because you're a felon, it kind of bugs me, because I feel like it's hard to find work if you don't humble yourself. Now,
You
if
can
you
find work if you want to work. I did.
if you really want to work, you'll
You can
find
find
something.
work.
You'll
Go
find
to
something. It might not be,
McDonald's.
yeah, it might not be what you want to do, but I had enough faith in myself and my work ethic that I went and applied at McDonald's, Lowe's, Home Depot. I didn't care, you know.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way.
Give me an opportunity to get my foot in the door, and
Right.
within 6 months, I'm gonna be a manager, or I'm gonna be on the corporate team. I'm gonna be doing something, you know, because I'm gonna
Same.
blow past these other people. Like, I'm betting on myself. I'm
Yeah.
betting on myself. And that's what I did. I went and I put in an application at Lowe's, and I got, you know, where it said, you know, have you ever been convicted of a felony? I didn't answer yes or no. I just put will explain.
Right.
And when I turned it in, they called me in for a part-time paint, and it was like 15 hours a week. I went in for the interview, and I'm dressed to the nines, like three-piece suit, going in for an interview for part-time paint at Lowe's, like going into interview like I'm about to be the president of the United States or something. Like, I'm interviewing for the CEO position or something. But when I went in, the store manager really liked me, and she saw that I had experience in warehouse, because I grew up. My family was in the fireworks business, so we grew up working in the warehouse as a kid, you know, and loading trucks and all that stuff. So she saw that I had experience, and it just so happened to be that the guy that worked in shipping and receiving put in his 2 weeks, and she was like, "Look, I don't want to move anybody else from inside the store because everybody's going to want this position because it's a set schedule. It's if you ever work in retail or those big box stores, like you're opening, you're closing, you're working holidays, you know. But if you work in operations like shipping and receiving, you have a set schedule because that's when the trucks run. You know, so it was 7 to 4 Monday through Friday, and I got the job. And I within 6 months, I got my first promotion to delivery manager. Within another 6 months, they promoted me to loss prevention manager. So then I was in charge of like catching people stealing, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a good and bad thing, you know, because first of all, I could never be a cop because I'm too like, I'm already scared, you know, but I would, if I caught somebody stealing, I'd always give them the benefit of the doubt. I'd be like, look, dude, this isn't the store. You're going to take that shit up the street. Like, you ain't stealing here anymore. You know, that's how I'd come at them.
Right.
But then I transferred a couple stores, and I was dating a girl at the time. And then, like I said, I went from one relationship right into another. A girl that I had been friends with for a long time. We started dating, and I mean, honestly, we probably should have stayed friends, but we took it to the next level and we got engaged. And she ended up moving out from Orange County out to the desert. But at that time, we moved in to this little apartment complex out in the desert, out by Coachella. And one of my cellies had gotten out from prison, and the apartment complex wasn't the best at the time. And her and I were fighting. We weren't on good terms already out of the jump. And I had this surgery, and they prescribed me a bunch of painkillers. And I started taking painkillers again. I had some needles around because I was doing testosterone at the time. That one of the neighbors was selling cocaine. Got my hands on some coke, some heroin, and started speedballing again. And you know, battled back and forth. You know, we ended up getting married, but the whole time, you know, she was trying to save me from my addiction, you know, and I was not wanting to be saved at that time. And so we moved from Palm Springs. We moved back up to Fresno because she thought, like, oh, if I just get him out of this environment, you know, I'll be able to get him clean. And it worked for a couple months, but then I was back out, you know, shooting dope. And we almost got divorced over it, you know, like she was on the brink of leaving me. And that's, you know, April 1st, 2016 is when I showed up on my mom's doorstep back down in Palm Springs, and I said, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm beat.
So you are married, and your wife helped you to get sober by inspiring you to get sober?
No. So I was married. I almost lost my marriage at that time. Yeah. So just so you guys know, everything's not rainbows and unicorns as soon as you get sober, you know, like the shit that you did is still there, you know, the chaos you created is still there. But so we weren't talking at the time. I went down to my parents. I got about a month clean under my belt. Then she started talking to me again. I got to working, you know, got an electrical job. And then I was going to move back down to Orange County, you know, and I told her, like, hey, like, I'm moving back down to Orange County. Like, I'd love for you to come if you want to come. And she was kind of playing the whole thing. Oh, I got a good job up here, a good place, you know, this and that. So I just found a place. And then she ended up coming down, and it was okay for the next 6 to 8 months. I mean, she definitely loved the fact that I was sober, but there was also that resentment there and the pain that I caused. And I never cheated on this. I looked at it as I never cheated on this woman with another girl or went out and slept around on her, but she didn't look at it like that. She looked at it as I was cheating on her with the drug.
Right.
And in hindsight, like, I get that because that drug got all of me. you know, like she wasn't even a close second. And so when I got clean, like I was trying to make it up, you know, and but the damage was done. And I mean, we went to counseling, we went to marriage counseling, we went to marriage retreats, we went to therapy, you know. And I remember sitting in therapy, and this was after me being clean and sober for 2 years. um, we were sitting in therapy, and the therapist asked her, like, do you think that you'll ever start to trust him again? And she literally looked at her and was like, I'm never going to trust him again. And that right there, I was just like, I can't live
The
like
damage
this.
was done.
Yeah, like I can't. But it's also not fair. I know I messed up, but it's not fair to me to try to spend the rest of my life making it up to her, just
Right.
for her to throw it back in my face. You know, it's not fair to her to spend the rest of her life with somebody she doesn't feel comfortable or trust. Like, so we sat down and we came to the conclusion together that, you know, like, hey, let's both go our separate ways. Like, we don't own a home together, we don't have any kids, we had a couple of dogs. And she even helped me pack my bags when I was leaving, you know. And I went and stayed at my parents, and I helped her out with the rent because, you know, that was our arrangement until she finished school. She was going to school to get her master's, and in marriage and family therapy, of all things. And I was in the process of trying to take my journeyman test for electrical. And I moved in with my parents, allowed me to help her out, save some money. And then my buddy had a pad open. He had a room open up in Redondo Beach, up in South Bay. And I moved up there because I wanted to get out of that Orange County, Costa Mesa area, because that's where all her friends were, you know, and I didn't want to be, you know, running into all of them all the time. And I needed to get away, but not too far, you know what I mean? Still close enough so I could see the dogs. And but I also, this at this time, for the first time in my life, I I wanted to find out if I was comfortable in my own skin and I was okay being alone. Because
Yeah.
every other time, like I said, I always had to go from one relationship to the next. And this was the first time in my life that I was okay being alone and being okay at looking myself in the mirror and like not feeling sick to my stomach, you know. And it it was nice, you know. I got back to, I actually, I wanted to find out what I like to do, because all the times before it was like, oh, what does Dean and, you know, his ex-wife want to do, or what does Dean and so and so want to do, you know. It was never what
Right.
does Dean want to do, you know. It's, and I really had to figure it out, you know, because I really didn't know what I liked to do, you know. But I knew I loved being around my family. I knew I loved going to the river. I loved going hiking. I loved being able to, at last minute, being able to jam out of town, you know, for the weekend and not have to check in with anybody, or, you know, um, it was liberating. It was so nice. And I found out so much about myself. And most of the time I would have been out running around. And this was another thing too, is I was scared shitless, because the only times I've been clean is when I've had somebody there holding me accountable.
Yeah.
Now I'm out on my own and I don't have anybody holding me accountable except me. And that was a big test for me, and I made it through it. You know, I'm not saying that it's done, but I I moved out and I was able to stay clean and liked being clean. I liked myself sober.
What did you do to get sober? Like, you know how some people go to AA, some people go to, they get Jesus and they go to a religion, or they like go off to some retreat for like 6 months.
Yeah.
What was your thing? Like, where did you just like say, I'm out of here, I'm not getting fucking high anymore? What did you do? Like, did you go to therapy? Did you get a sponsor? Tell me about it.
I didn't do any of that, to be honest.
How did you get? Okay,
I really didn't do any of that. How I did get sober is I did go to the doctor and get Suboxone. Suboxone saved my life. Saved
Me
my
too.
life. Saved
Same.
my life. Like, honestly, like I couldn't have done it without Suboxone. But I mean, I went to some meetings, you know, I definitely, what I did do is changed my circle, changed a lot of who I hung out with and my friends and everything. Whereas before I'd always keep that drug dealer's phone number. Even when I got clean, I'd always keep that drug dealer's phone number in my phone just in
Yeah.
case. I mean, I got to call and check on him every 6 months, just see if he's still doing all right, you know, like see if he's
Right.
up.
I
Yeah.
was the same way for a long time too.
I always used to joke around.
I had to get a new phone and a new number and everything. The reason why I asked you, because I didn't, honestly, I didn't know that you had utilized Suboxone in your recovery.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I started this channel.
Yeah.
Because I was sharing my story and other people in recovery were telling me that I shouldn't be sharing it because I was on Suboxone.
I think that's bullshit. I think
so. I started this channel 2 years ago to start a community for people that are on maintenance medication who are serious about being in recovery. And so I was just like, you know, you hear people say the way people usually get sober is the only way that we've been taught to get sober, and that's through abstinence, 12-step based recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I tried that like 16 times.
Yeah.
I've been to 5 rehabs, I've been to prison, and they teach abstinence, 12-step based recovery in every one of those programs. Well, after doing it 10 times and it not working, I met with a doctor and a psychiatrist, and they said, hey, you're a chronic relapser. This medication can help you. Why don't you give it a shot? And I gave it a shot, and it saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even have been like I'm only on 1 milligram now, but it's taken 4 years to get to this point where I'm on 1 milligram, you know? And so everybody has a story where they come on and they say, you know, well, the 12 steps work for me. But what I'm starting to realize is that a lot of people, that doesn't work for them. And they need more than just praying and meditating. And so that's why I asked you that, because a lot of people that watch my channel are just like us, who have tried everything. I would shoot up water out of a puddle. Okay. With, you know, so people in this chat are the same way we are. They were desperate for help and they have tried everything. So that's why I wanted to know, what was it that you're doing that's helping you? So along with being on Suboxone, was there anything else that you got involved in, or, you know, that?
Look, I'll tell you right now. So when I did go to the doctor, he was a doctor out of Palm Springs, and this man literally saved my life. He saved my life. And I look at it like this, like if you're taking it to get loaded or taking it to get high, or you're still like doing all your still mannerisms, your still behaviors that dope fiends do, lying, cheating, stealing, like, look, like it's probably not working for you, you know? Like maybe you do need to go cold turkey off everything. But I was able to go get a job. I didn't have the desire to go seek out opiates. I didn't have the desire to go by and see if my cocaine connection was still, you know, working at Lowe's or, you know, still living up the street. I didn't. Like I had, and talking to the doctor too, and I expressed all this to him, you know, like, hey, I don't want to be addicted to something. I don't want to feel like, you know, I'm trading one for another, you know. And he explained it to me like this, like, look, okay, so how long did you do heroin, you know, or opiates? And I told him, you know, like almost 20 years, you know. And he's like, look, you stunted yourself. Like your brain literally stopped producing the dopamine, you know, like that gives you those, gets you excited or gets you low, or, you know, the feelings that you have. That's why when you see, like, this is how he explained it. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just relaying what he said. But, you know, that's why you see what these old school, like heroin addicts that have been doing it for so long, like after they get clean, like they just don't have any feeling. They're just there. They're hardened. Like they don't get super excited. They don't get super depressed. Like they just don't get phased. And it's because your brain stopped producing it. And he said what Suboxone does it allows you to start feeling again and start feeling. Because I know a lot of people feel like, oh, you know, on Suboxone I don't feel anything. That's bullshit, because I know
I'm the most emotional bitch you'll
Yeah.
ever meet. Okay, and I've
I
been
know
on
I felt
Suboxone.
everything on Suboxone.
Yeah.
Like it saved my life. So I'm a huge believer in, if you're doing it and it's changed your life for the better, who cares? Like it's who cares if you take in, you know, a couple ibuprofen every day or a couple Tums every day? What's the difference of taking? So if it's not affecting your job, your life, you're not lying about it, you're not hiding it, you're not, you know, doing all this shady shit to go get it. Like you're not, if you're melting it down and putting it in a spoon and shooting it up in your neck, like, yeah, you might want to rethink the whole Suboxone trip in your sobriety.
Right.
But if you're literally taking it as prescribed to get through life, like I look at it as like the other way wasn't working for me, you know. And any other time I got sober, like it wasn't working for me, you know. And you know, people eat edibles or they'll smoke a little weed or, you know, do stuff like that to get by. Like i'm I was always on point, you know. And that's what I love about my life today is like I'm always on point. You're going to get the same person 99% of the time. You know, when I walk into a room, I survey it, I see, you know, I can feel the energy, I can feel, you know, like I feel everything. And it's, I just really feel like it's done a world of difference for me. I feel like it's really saved my life. And the where I'm, like I said, this last year, I really, really did some reflecting and some deep thought. I mean, I'm 41 years old. I don't have any kids. Um, I feel like I'm a good man, and I got a great job, and I'm doing it, you know. And but I, at the same time, it was like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I? You know, this was when, you know, I had first got single. Like, why can't I find somebody that, you know, find a good woman? It's because of the people I was surrounding myself with and my mannerisms. I was still, you know, I'd still slide in, be that little dirt ball that would slide into girls' DMs, or, you know, be out at the bars, like taking girls home, you know, like if that's the girls that I'm going to surround myself with, those are the girls I'm going to attract. And I
Yeah.
really had to get in touch with who I am and myself and carry myself in the way that I wanted to with integrity. And that allowed me to meet a solid, amazing woman, you know. And we've been dating for almost 9 months now. And I've never been happier, ever. Like, this woman has showed me a love that I didn't know existed, you know. And it's like I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, I felt like and I'm not ashamed of anything I did. Everything I've done up to this point has led me to this, and it's led me to be the man that she deserves, and the man that, you know, I deserve to give her, you know. And it allows her to be the woman that I deserve, because I feel like I deserve it too. It's not all about her, you know. It's about me too. Like, in my
It's
sobriety,
equal.
in your sobriety, you got to be selfish. You have to. And the other amazing thing, like, anytime I was in a relationship, it was because one of us had to be in that relationship, whether it was for financial reasons, whether it was for uh, you know, self-confidence reasons, whether for whatever reason. This is the first time, I mean, we're doing the long distance thing, but this is the first time I've been in a relationship because we both want to be in a relationship. She doesn't need me. She can freaking tell me to kick rocks tomorrow and she'll be fine. But she also knows the same. I don't need her. Like, I could tell her to kick rocks tomorrow and be fine, you know? Like, she'd be fine by
That's the
herself.
best way
I'd be, yeah,
to
exactly.
came together. You
Like,
have something and she has something and you bring it together. You know what I mean? That's the best way to get into a relationship.
mhm,
Me and my husband, we're both in recovery. We're both on Suboxone also.
mhm,
And we got pregnant with my
uh-huh,
son, and my son got taken away, and that's how we ended up getting sober. So, um, But if I could change things,
Which-
if I could go back, I wish that I could have met him when I was my time. But we went through all that together,
Yeah.
and we know each other, you know, so it helps. It's good now, but it's
Yeah.
taken 5 years to get
Yeah.
to where we are, you know.
Yeah. See, I'm glad she didn't know me back then, because she would have told me to kick rocks today. She wouldn't have looked twice at me, because I was a punk, you know, womanizer, thought my shit didn't stink, like, you know, thought I had everything coming. Like, no, I'm glad we met, you know, because she had to go through her stuff too. And, you know, she's been married and divorced. I've been married and divorced. She doesn't have any kids, which is, I mean, that's hard to find at, you know, my age. You know, I'm 41. And if I want to go pre-30, you know, like, to find somebody that it's going to be, if I'm going sub 30, like, it's going to be hard to find somebody that doesn't have kids, is single, has a good job, has their shit together, normal, you know, because we're all a little freaking crazy, but
you're not gonna find anybody normal.
She's just the perfect amount of crazy for me, you know.
So, oh, that's what's up, man. I did not know that. I'm so happy that you came on the channel, because, like, my channel really is, I'm a huge advocate for medically assisted treatment, and I will go down burning in flames, fighting and sticking up for people like us, and I do it all the time. And so I am so glad that you shared that, because I know it can be a little scary to share, because a lot of people are very judgmental. But,
but on this channel, 2020, girl.
Fuck them. We don't fuck what nobody thinks over here.
It's 2020, you know? And if they need to stay in their own lane. Like, you know, everybody's sobriety is different. Yeah. Everybody's sobriety is different. If it works for you, keep doing it. Keep doing it. If it doesn't, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try something else, you know? But don't give up. Don't give up. When
people say things like you're trading addictions, let me just school you real fast. There's a huge difference between addiction and dependency.
Yeah.
Active addiction comes with negative behaviors. It comes with negative consequences. Yeah. Being physically dependent on a medication, lots of people are dependent on medications. Yeah. Medications for our mental health. Yeah. Medications for diabetes. Medications for, man, everybody needs something. I don't care who you are. I mean, if it's caffeine. Yeah. And so that double standard of that judgment, we just don't get down like that over here on my channel. But yeah, a lot of people in the recovery community are still stuck in that old state of mind. They're stuck in the past. And so we're trying to help them catch up to speed, because I know for me, I wouldn't be here where I was today if I hadn't got on Suboxone. It saved my life. Yeah. Like, I relapsed I couldn't stop relapsing. Yeah. It was horrible. Yeah. I've never had any time of sobriety like this, like I have today. And it is, I feel better than I've ever felt in my whole entire life, ever. I'm proud of myself. I have confidence. I love myself. I have my son. I couldn't do that when I was in my addiction, you know? And so that's living proof, just by my actions, just by your actions, that we are not living the way we used to be. I mean, if you were still getting fucked up, you'd be still robbing banks. But
I would have graduated on to way more gnarly.
You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, like, my best recommendation for you is, like, who cares what they think? And you're not going to sell them, and you're not going to tell them anything that is going to change their mind, but just show them. Keep doing you, girl. Like, keep doing this. Keep giving back. Be there for the people that do have your back. Like, they're going to talk shit the whole way, you know, but when 5-10 years down the road, and you're still doing you, smiling, being that amazing, like, getting your son back, like, you know how many people go through life, like, fighting to get their kids back, but just can't, even being sober, you know, like, can't get it. Like, do you. They're not on your level. Like, you.
Right. They're not on our level.
Yeah,
They
you're doing
know.
you're doing something on a whole nother level, and they're just gonna hate. People are gonna hate. You know what? But I just smile, and say, man, that sucks for you, because that hate. I mean, that's how it is. It drags you down, and it takes a lot of energy to hate. Like, smile, be positive, keep
The
doing
next step for you in your recovery is to start giving back to helping people. You know that,
That's
right?
what I need to do.
It's
Yeah.
going to
So
change your life. The feeling that you get from being able to help others, it's like getting high on drugs. I swear to God.
exactly. So that's my new high. When I went and spoke, I went back and spoke at the Phoenix House, and I spoke in front of it was like 200 people. When I got out of speaking, I was on a whole nother level of high that I hadn't felt since getting high, and it was like I was calling my chick, just couldn't talk to enough people, like, oh my God, and you get addicted to that feeling. And
Yeah.
after I went on Josh's show, 23 and 1, just kind of reading through the comments, there were some haters, but so what? Like I said, they're gonna hate, do you? If that's what you want to do you? But the people that related, that's the people that I love to reach out to, and the people that can relate, and they can see, oh man, that was my story. Oh, how did you do it? Oh, you can, because I was 32 years old when I got out of prison. I thought, nobody's going to want anything to do with a 32-year-old ex-con, and I put my nose down, and yeah, I had some slip ups and started getting loaded again. But April 1st, 2016, like I said, since then, it's been nothing but I set a goal, and I'm getting there. I set the goal to pass my journeyman test to start my own electrical company. Started that. It's called Dino's Electric. I wanted to pass this journeyman test so badly, and I took it 3 times and failed it. And I started thinking, am I just a freaking idiot? Am I stupid? Did the drugs really do a number on me? But no, it made it, when I passed it, that much sweeter, because I passed it on the 4th time. I just passed it in November, and it made it so much sweeter. It was like Christmas Day, getting out of prison, all that, falling in love, all those feelings all over again. And then now I just got signed up for electrical contractor school. So now I'm gonna go get my C10 license and have that in my pocket. And it's just keep setting goals.
That's what you have to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna move in that right direction. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. I'm fucking proud of you, dude. For real. You're a real junkie. I mean, I had another girl on my channel, and I could relate to everything she was saying. Her name's Kayla. You'll have to hit her up. She has a channel too.
Yeah.
Situation, going to any links to get the dope, and she she did the same thing with the port and all that, and when I hear it's levels of desperation. I mean, addiction sucks, but it's I relate more to certain people on that levels of desperation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to hear that you've come out and that you own your own business and that you got a beautiful, soon to be, I'm sure, wife, if y'all are planning to go that way.
We're headed that way.
That's huge. It's a big deal. Another thing that I really related to is when you were talking about how that you're good at what you do. You're a good worker. Ever since I was a little kid, my dad taught me, you got to sell yourself. When you walk in, you present yourself. I'm the same way. I get a job and I'm bam, 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 manager. Even in my addiction, I was like that. Bam, 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 manager.
Yeah.
And it's now that I'm sober, I'm I will not be stopped. That's why I'm consistent with this channel. That's why it's so important to me, because I don't know if it's it's just an obsession that I have to just keep going forward. Because I feel I wasted so much time fucking up. Now I got makeup off. I got to make up for all that shit,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel the same way. I always felt like I'm playing catch up. I'm trying to make it up. I mean, I was the opposite of you when I was in my addiction. I couldn't hold down a job for shit. I was getting fired. I was late all the time.
I got fired a lot, but
yeah, I ain't trying to lie. I ain't trying to, But now that I'm clean, like I do the opposite. I'm always the first one on. I'm the last one to leave. And I might not be the smartest guy on the job, but I'm damn near gonna be the hardest worker on the job. You ain't gonna outwork me. Like I'll work
Right.
till, you know, and that's how I get the respect is just you know what the biggest thing is consistency. Being consistent, like consistent and being on time, consistent. That way when people tell me something like, "Oh, hey, we're gonna meet over here at 4," they know I'm gonna be there. They know I'm gonna be there on time. If I'm not, I'm gonna call. Like the consistency, and I just really feel like that in my sobriety has helped me excel so much. Just not being good for a day or a week, or when you feel like it, like be be the man that acquire what you admire. It's like Wes Watson says,
We
acquire what
talked
you
about that
admire.
today about consistency, and
Yeah,
when we flake on people, it's because we don't have respect for ourselves or that person's time.
yeah.
And so it's really a direct reflection of our character. Like I, I have people on the channel a lot, like guests and stuff, and I'm the kind of person that when I say I'm going to do something, I'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
I've even ran into situations where people kind of like flake out and stuff, and I don't take it personally, but I know what it is because I used to do the same thing.
Yeah,
It's because I don't give a damn about that person's time.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
respect thing too.
and
So
and, and I don't really, I mean I do it for the other person, but I mainly do it for myself, because at the end of the day when I lay my head on that pillow, like I'm going to sleep with no heavy weight on my mind, because I did
right.
right by everybody that day, you know did right by everybody.
And going to sleep with a clean conscience, that helps us to stay sober, because when we got those resentments from things that we did wrong or others that hurt us, that will even cause us, I mean, I know that I've had situations where I knew I hurt somebody and that
Hmm.
weighed on my heart, because I knew I needed to make it right. And
Yeah,
so every day I try to make it right. I'm not perfect, but I try to do the best I can to
yeah.
do the right thing every day, so that way I don't have to worry about fucking up and shit. Anyway, I'll hold you hostage here forever. We've almost been on for 2 hours tonight.
Damn, girl, 2 hours.
It's a good video, though. You did a really fucking good job. You're a good talker.
I
Not many
appreciate it.
people can compete with my level of talking, so I'm very proud of you.
Hey, but I just gotta say, you bring it out. You bring it out of people. Honestly, I appreciate you.
I'm going to link your channel. Everybody's asking me what your channel is. It's called Everybody Loves a Comeback. I'm going to link
Mhm.
channel again in the comments and when I upload this video, you guys. Please be patient because YouTube likes to fuck with me and not upload the videos right away.
Yeah,
So I shared it on my community tab. So if anybody's wondering where it's at, that's where it is. But because of the corona, it takes like over 8 hours for a live stream to upload. So if it's not on my channel, check the community tab because it'll be here in the morning. I promise. It
yeah,
always takes like 8
yeah.
hours or
And
something.
just to everybody, just bear with me. We just started it. My little bro Cameron just got it up and running. I don't have a whole lot of videos on there because honestly, I had like 8 subscribers. I didn't do. We didn't even have it going when I did Josh's. And
Right.
Josh's videos almost have like, shit, I think together they almost got like 110,000 views. So, but I'm not doing it to get rich or make money or do anything like that. I'm doing it like you, girl. Like if I can help somebody, or if my story touches somebody, or it gives back, or it brings some awareness, or even if it just brings a smile to your face, because you look at me and think like, oh, dude's an idiot,
It's
like,
your life having a YouTube channel. I'm going to tell
yeah,
you.
like that's what I want. And it's almost like having, a conversation with your friends every morning, So I'll start posting more, and Cameron's been on me to send him some videos, and I want to do some interviews with some of my cousins and some buddies that got some crazy stories and how they've gotten sober, and and if you have them on your channel, like I'm sure they'd love to come on and talk.
Anybody's welcome over here.
I
Anybody that
love
wants to
that.
share their story.
I
We're
love that.
And we let everybody, whatever your pathway is to recovery, we support you no matter what. Like, I'm not about that judgmental bullshit. We're very open-minded here. And so, like, I have some people that come on and they still smoke marijuana, and that helps them stay sober, and they don't have a needle in their arm. So everybody's so different. It's hard to say that you should just be doing this one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Support multiple pathways to recovery.
I love it. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Thank you, Mama. Mama just linked your channel, and of course I'll link it again. But anytime you need to hit me up, I'm over here.
All righty. All right.
Bye, Dino.
Bye, everybody.
That was a good interview, huh, guys? That was a good interview. I like that, dude. Okay, y'all. Thank you, Mama. Link Dino's channel. Please go subscribe to Dino's channel. He is going to put some videos for you guys. He's got one video over there that he's made, but I know that he's going to be putting out some content because he's got a good heart. And you know, when you're just sitting down with somebody and you're talking, you can just feel that they have that dude right there. He's good people. So y'all go over there, follow his channel. I'm sure on the channel, and we'll do some more videos together because that's how I like to do it. I like to have people back for updates. I like to know how they're doing. So you guys go sub his channel up. I love you guys. I got to go pee really, really bad. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 for our workout and then at 7 for our live stream. Love you, Captain. Thanks for the money, girl.